listening to This Week in Clown World with Ben and Hobbs, so sit back, relax, take your black pill, and enjoy the show. And we're back.
Yes, good evening, fellow harmful extremists. It's been a couple of weeks. We've had some busy schedules.
I think we're back on Facebook now, too. They decided to let us back on, so we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts, everybody. Welcome back to This Week in Clown World. It's been a couple of weeks. I, of course, am Hobbs, joined with Ben over there. Sir, how have you been the last couple of weeks?
Busy. You know, summer stuff. There's a lot more to do. I can understand people. Our numbers have been down on the podcast, but there's better stuff to do than listen to our podcast during the summer, and I don't blame them.
Lies, damnable lies and statistics.
You need to be inside listening to our podcast.
Right. You know,
otherwise you're going to catch the Delta variant.
Exactly. You know, forget Netflix, forget Hulu or any of that other crap. Put your ass with some wireless earbuds and listen to the dulcet tones of my voice.
So we're kind of back to they're trying to get us back to 2020 at this point. Let's just hop right into the old COVID. What's going on?
Yeah, they're trying. Who said time travel's not possible?
Yeah. We're back to are some states implementing lockdowns, or there's just talk of it, or
there's talk of a potential lockdown at the federal level. Numerous states are jumping the gun on CDC guidance and implementing indoor mask mandates again. And wonderful New York City, the crown jewel of America's urban cesspit.
Hobbs is on baby duty.
I'm on baby duty. So if I disappear or you hear like weird screaming noises, that's my. He should be laying down, butthole. But New York City is to be implementing something that they call the key to NYC, which is
that sounds like a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't want a key to the city?
Right. But they were going to call it the Excelsior Pass, but I don't know if they made too many South Park and or Stan Lee jokes about Excelsior or what that deal was. But look, we got a comment over here from the Facebook page. It is working. Oh, fantastic!
And now it just popped up on my screen. Facebook quit pushing your broadcast. You can learn more about their TOS here.
Motherfuckers. We're talking about the Rona. That's what it is. But
so we may or may not be on Facebook.
Yeah, may or may not. But anyways, so they're instituting vaccine passes where you are going to have to prove your vaccinated status to get into a gym, get into a restaurant, basically live normal life in New York City. And many people are saying that this is the foot in the door for the thing that the conspiracy theorists had been saying is coming, and the naysayers were saying would never happen. Oh, vaccine passports, you're crazy. That's never going to happen. Who would do that? Except that's totally what we're doing now in New York City. And as
the old mark of the beast, huh?
Exactly. And you don't have to be religious to see that's what they're going for, because it doesn't matter if you believe in it. They believe in it, and they take it very seriously.
It's funny because people have joked about that whole mark of the beast thing. Like, why would people ever allow that to happen? Well, here you go.
Yeah.
This is how they're going to allow it to happen.
Yeah, it's not even just allow it to happen. It's they're pushing for it. And if I can get off kind of into the weeds, if I can get off into the weeds a little bit about the whole conspiratorial nut job type of that I tend to like to do, when normal people, normal Christians, or even not Christians, read something like the Book of Revelation with their like weird esoteric, prophecies and whatnot. Talking about like 7-headed dragons wearing 9 crowns and the mark
Right.
of the beast and all of this other stuff. You think of it as allegory. You think of it as metaphors, and it means something else. When the people, the weirdos, the vampire potbelly goblins that are running our society right now read the Book of Revelation, they see it as a roadmap. We do X, Y will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've read enough of some of their writings and everything over the years, these people actually honestly believe that if they set in motion the prophecies outlined in not just Christianity in the Book of Revelation, but Islam has similar things, and all major religions around the world have an end times prophecy that follows a very similar set of circumstances. They're worded differently and different things like that, but they're all fairly close enough that you can interpret them roughly to go in the same direction. They believe that if they set these things in motion, and the Antichrist, the devil, Vishnu, or whatever it is that is supposed to come and destroy the world, they believe that if they summon this beast, they will be able to control, and then they will become like gods.
Well, that kind of keys into how so many of the wackadoodles support Israel so much, because they think it's part of their end time prophecy.
Exactly.
So I can see why they why they would be thinking that they need to encourage this mark to come about.
Right. There's people that want the end times to come because they're like devout evangelical Christians, and they just want Jesus to come back. But then, like I said, there's also the demonic evil side of things that tend to be in power because they think that they'll be able to. Yes, they think that they'll be able to control it. No, I'm not Mama. Funny story. This little guy, he's been saying mama and mama, mama a lot. His very first word was dad, and now he never says it anymore. Like, he looked at me and clear as day just said, dad. And I was like, yes, yes. First word, me, in your face. But now he never says it anymore.
But mom's winning out through quantity.
Yes, exactly. She has him all day, and I swear she must spend like 4 hours just staring at him going, mom, mom, mom.
So yeah, they're trying to bring this about. And there seems like there's a lot of people that are right on board with it. They're trying to summon Cthulhu.
Yeah, Cthulhu, the devil, the Antichrist. It doesn't matter what you call it. They think that they will set this in motion, and this primordial evil is going to be summoned, and then they, in their hubris, believe that they will be able to harness it and control it and become like gods.
What an interesting way to view the world. I mean, I'm kind of jealous of them a little bit that they're that far out there.
I was going to say, like, how far up your own ass do you have to be to think, like, yes, I'm going to summon the devil and he's going to bow to me?
To think that can happen within, I mean, hey, the world was probably a lot more interesting when everybody believed in pixies and dragons and everything. So does this explain the pedos and power drinking? Oh, the old adrenochrome thing, huh?
Yeah. And yes, it does. It absolutely does. It's part of it. So, child sacrifice.
Speaking of that, and how Biden asked those people, do Republicans think we drink baby blood? Remember that?
It's like, what?
There was the governor candidates are already touring Nebraska for that. That's where we're at. And the one came out and he had a question from the audience, and the question was, what will you do to fight the pedophile cannibalistic cabal that's drinking baby blood? And they were dead serious about the question. And the candidate was just like, I mean, what do you say to that when somebody puts that out there? But they dodged it and moved on. But there are people that are looking for people to protect them from the pedophile blood drinking cabal that's out there.
Right. So I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to run for Congress again in this upcoming midterm election.
Mm-hmm.
But since you said that there are people looking to protect them from that,
They're looking for people to protect them from it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I will tell you right now that if I run for Congress again in this midterm election, my campaign slogan is "Do not count on me," because any congressman, governor, senator, any politician that promises you that they're going to do X, Y, and Z for you is full of shit. You are the leaders that you've been waiting for. You are your own first responders from the micro to the macro level. If you want somebody to protect you from satanic, blood drinking, child sacrificing, pedophile rapists, it's you.
Yeah. When seconds count, the cops are minutes away. It's funny, but at the same time, the Finders case exists and is documented. Is that something I'm not aware of that?
I vaguely remember something called that.
For
I'm
people
sure that
for people watching on YouTube or listening to podcasts, we have people commenting on the live stream, and this person, the Finders case. We'll look into that sometime.
it sounds familiar. Yeah.
Nebraska's already famous for pedophile rings, though. So
Yes. The Franklin cover-up.
Yeah, and I've always thought Boys Town is kind of weird.
Yeah, it's Boys Town is one of those institutions that like it starts with good intentions and it has a good mission statement and everything, but it ends up getting like hijacked by same thing with like the Catholic priests and everything. All it takes is one or two weirdos to take advantage of it, and the whole thing is blown apart.
Well, isn't Boys Town a Catholic thing, anyways? I'm not sure. I'm too far on this side of the state to know much about it.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what the religious affiliation is on them either, because I never had any associated. Yeah.
Speaking, we've rolled in. We've rolled into pedophiles here a little bit. What was your was it nonce of the week moment?
Yeah, or this week in nonstum or noncery. Yeah, so about a week and a half ago, I believe it was a contributing editor or something for GQ magazine posted up a tweet saying that there should be pornography for children. And it was like, hear me out. I'm just saying that kids are watching porn anyways, so there should be a class of entry-level porn where everybody asks for consent and no one gets choked out, so kids aren't watching hardcore porn and getting a wrong idea of what sex is. And apparently, this person got ratioed so hard that they deleted their Twitter account. And rightfully so, because it's only one step from there should be porn for kids to there should be porn of kids.
Yeah, it's the next logical step that person would probably take, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what is that Overton window thing? They just throw such bizarre ideas out there, keep throwing them over and over again that it just wears you down or something.
Yeah, and they shifted a little. They slided into popular culture. They slided into with humorous jokes on things, and it just kind of desensitizes you and normalizes you to the point where one day you're making a crass and off-color joke about something, and then the next week there's a convicted child rapist in drag reading stories to your kids at the public library.
Yeah, or we didn't even talk about that weirdo in the monkey suit from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was a good one. The rainbow dildo butt monkey is what it called itself, and yeah, that was absolute. That was in the UK, and the other part of this porn entry-level porn for kids story is that after this GQ editor deleted her Twitter account like a week and a half ago after getting ratioed on Twitter, an article pops up in the BBC like day before yesterday or something saying basically the exact same thing,
Man, the
So
UK is just down the toilet.
I
What?
know.
I mean,
You've got it's the same situation as you got here in the United States, where there's literally two cultures and two countries within one country, and they're so polarized right now that I don't see anything other than violence at this point. Shh, quit making fart noises.
yeah, blame it on the baby. We know that's your floppy ball. Like a wizard sleeve. Did we talk about Drag Queen Story Hour in Lincoln? No.
I didn't know we had that, but thank you for ruining my night, Caleb.
I think I saw a little bit about that. They were gonna have it got shut down though by protesters, I believe.
Good.
But yeah, I mean, if that's showing up in Nebraska, I guess it'll show up everywhere at this point.
Yeah, I guess you can use us as kind of a barometer of when the takeover is complete.
Is when it's showing up in Nebraska.
Yeah.
Yeah, but back to the whole UK thing. Where is that country going to go? I mean, they've been socialist since what, the 70s, maybe? Would you say?
Yeah, at the very least.
Now they're a police state. You got a license. You got to have a license for everything there. What, they license knives now?
If you can even buy them. Like, I saw a picture that was, it wasn't satire, it wasn't a joke. It was like a package of children's eating utensils, a fork, a spoon, and a knife. It was like Thomas the Tank Engine cutlery set or something, intended for, like guys his age or a little bit older. Mm-hmm. And it was like, must be 18 to buy this. Like, the fuck out of here. Like, first off, like, a baby isn't going to be strolling in there and buying it. Like, but still, that's ridiculous. It's like a blunted butter knife and a fork.
Well, while we're hitting on countries going down the toilet, Australia is kind of circling the drain also, aren't they?
Australia at this point is down the drain and is coming around the loop. They are quite possibly the most draconian biomedical police state in the world right now.
Well, it's interesting to bring that up because Dave Smith. Do you follow Dave Smith much at all?
I see his stuff occasionally.
I mean, he made the very good point that forcing vaccinations is literally fascism.
Mm-hmm.
Because fascism, as defined by Mussolini, I believe, is the marriage of the state and corporations.
Correct.
So how is that not blatant fascism at this point?
Yeah,
and all these people putting up for it.
Yeah, you're requiring something by a corporate entity. You're using the force of government to require citizens to have it. Yeah, it is fascism. And then the other way around is the government dictating what the corporations do. So on the one hand, you've got the corporations dictating to the government that they have to mandate their privately developed products, and then on the other hand, you have the government using public funds and government pressure in order to tell these corporations what to do. Either give them instructions that they follow willingly, like big tech is doing with censorship because they're ideologically on the same side, or you have like what's going on with big pharma, where they're just throwing money at them hand over fist to develop something and then mandating it.
Well, and Al McKeel over here, America is blatantly fascist now. I mean, at some point, is everybody in America going to wake up one morning and realize that, shit, we're fascist? And what would the fallout of that even be? I think it's too late by then. By the time you realize you're fascist, it's probably too late, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's and like I said about the UK, there are two countries in America right now, two parallel side-by-side civilizations occupying the same territorial space, and something has got to get or later. We're either going to have a peaceful divorce or a bloody civil war.
Well, it seems like the left has become. I mean, they're glad to be fascist at this point. They just don't realize what. I'd like to know what. I don't think progressives actually know what fascism is.
No, they don't.
Yeah, and it was funny because I'll bring up Dave Smith again. He was in a debate with some progressive, whatever on Fox. It wasn't Fox. Yeah, it was Fox News.
On Kennedy.
Yeah. And he read her the definition of fascism and pointed out how the vaccine mandates are fascist. And all this progressive said was, "You voted for Trump, didn't you?"
he's like, "No, I'm an anarchist. I didn't vote for anybody."
Yeah, at that point, he was just like, he basically said, "You know what? I'm done with you." So I think I don't think they even understand what they just know that they think fascism is somebody being mean.
Yeah, or it's inextricably tied to racism.
Sure.
Much in the same way that Confederate and Confederacy is linked in the public mind to slavery and racism, so is fascism, because the most famous fascist was Hitler, and Hitler did an ethnic purge.
Yeah, I don't think Mussolini was involved with any purging in Italy that I'm aware of.
Not on an ethnic scale, ideological, yeah, but not an ethnic.
So I think they're gladly fascist at this point. You know, they're working in step with the tech companies, working in step with the pharmaceutical companies. They're probably going to come up with a different name for it, like democratic fascism.
Yeah, it's like you're given the illusion of being able to vote.
National socialism.
Ooh, well, where did you get that?
That sounds great.
Yeah,
some
it
national
does.
Socialism. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know where to go with that. You know, Australia. What do we got? You're facing medical apartheid at the hands of the fascists. Yeah. I mean, you're gonna have the haves and the have-nots, and the people that don't get vaccines are trying to hurt other people. That's how they're framing it. You're trying to hurt everybody else by not getting the vaccine.
Yeah. It's I actually saw a short clip from Glenn Beck's show yesterday, where they were talking about Edwin Black's 10 steps to genocide, and we are right between step 6 and 7 right now.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to take a look at. And if you want to pop it up on screen or look it up right now, like you take a look at it, and even the 10 steps are not something that needs to be taken in order either. Like we're up to in between step 6 and 7, but then you take a look, I think it was 9 and 10 we've already done as well.
The 10 stages of genocide, does that sound right?
Yeah, Edwin Black, 10 stages of genocide.
Classification, symbolization, discrimination, dehumanization. Does that sound right? That doesn't have his name on it.
Right, yeah, that's the correct one.
Let me just save this image real quick. I'll throw it up here. We're very professional here tonight. We're putting up fart sounds, images on the fly. PM me. I just found it. I'll get it up here in just as soon as we'll edit out this pause on the podcast, maybe, or leave it in.
It's fine. Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Fuck it. We'll do it live. Here we are. Yeah. So I'll make it full screen here. We're going to disappear. Hopefully we come back.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. So this is what you were talking about, right?
This is what I was talking about. Yeah. So
classification. Let's just go through a check mark here. Classification for sure.
Yeah. So what does it say here? The difference between people. There's a deviation of us and them, which can be
carried out
carried
using stereotypes or excluding people who are perceived to be different. Yeah, that's obvious.
Yeah, definitely. We've got the us versus them mentality, the people who are different. Now the left and the progressives will say that's all going to fall down to to racism and stuff like that, but it's really more falling along ideological fault lines right now. Conservatives versus the left. Not even Democrats and Republicans or left and right anymore.
Mm-mm.
You got conservatives and liberals and regular, uninterested Americans versus active neo-Bolsheviks.
Yeah, liberals aren't progressives. I hate that people get that mixed up, and
Yeah.
good on you for putting that out
Yep.
there. Symbolization, there's a visual manifestation of hatred. I don't know about that. We're not to that one yet.
Yeah, this would be like the
mask.
Exactly, the mask and the vaccine cards and the eventual
social justice hair.
Yep.
Discrimination. The dominant group denies civil rights or even citizenship to the identified groups. Yeah, that just happened with your New York multi-pass.
Yep. And that New York multi-pass, the mask, the COVID passports, and the vaccine card, you must be vaxxed to enter. You've got airports now that are setting and unvaccinated boarding pass lines. The vaccinated people can go through like an enhanced screening process or whatever. It goes into the step 2.
Well, my son, he joined the Navy, and they're only letting vaccinated parents come to the graduation ceremony.
Yep, there you are, setting up a 2-tier caste system.
Yep. Dehumanization. Those perceived as different are no longer traded with no form of human rights or personal dignity. I don't know. They were dehumanizing. Maybe.
I mean, how many times have you said that, or how many times have we heard some talking head on some left-wing mainstream media, talk about how anybody who's to the right of Stalin and Mao need to be exterminated or re-educated or just like these are not people that belong in polite society. It's we're there. I would say we're there.
Organization. Genocides are always planned. Regimes of hatred often train those who go on to carry out the destruction of a people. Organization might be lacking a little bit, I guess, if they're going to pull it off.
It might be lacking a little bit, but then of course we've got Antifa that is rather well organized behind the scenes, and we've got the current wokeification of our own military, where people who are patriotic Americans are being driven out and demoralized, and a false sense of like diversity hiring for diversity's sake is being instituted in our military. So it's starting, but I don't think it's quite there yet.
Luke White from YouTube commented, "Hey boys, I'm back. Commence the comment shenanigans."
Yep, I met Luke in Tennessee. Hi Luke, how you doing, bud?
And didn't get any pictures of the moment.
None of us did. None of us did.
A momentous uniting of the clans.
I know. And for know what we're talking about, I went on vacation to Florida last week, and on my way down there, I took a little bit of a detour through Tennessee and met the boys from TBL, Mark and Justin and Luke and Preacher, and a bunch of the guys were there, and we had a pretty good time.
From the old thick blue line.
Yeah.
Polarization. Propaganda begins to spread by hate groups. Yeah, that's
duh.
That's an easy one.
Yep.
Preparation. Perpetrators plan the genocide. They often use euphemisms such as the Nazis' phrase, "the final solution." So probably in the same step as organization on that one. They're a little lacking.
Little lacking, but it's starting to get rolled out. Anti-vaxxer, Trumpist. They're calling everybody who disagrees with them a white supremacist and a racist. So
yeah.
Like
I pointed out that Dave Smith, if you disagree with him, you voted for Trump, and that automatically lets them label you as a racist and deserving of persecution.
Exactly. Which is the next step, persecution.
Yep. Victims are identified because their ethnicity or religion, and death lists are drawn up. Well, they're certainly could put together a list of people that aren't vaccinated.
Yep. And I'm sure it's only a matter of time before things like voter rolls are made public, either by the government or oops, accidentally leaked, or oops, accidentally got hacked, or any of the other things like that, where you'll basically be mass doxing by the government.
Right. Steps are being followed, just not in the order laid out here. Yeah. Thankfully, these last two steps seems like they extermination. The hate group murders are identified victims in a deliberate and systematic campaign of violence.
Not there yet.
No, I don't know how they would manage to go about that at this point either. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. But you know what? I bet if you would have asked any or even somebody that was politically, turned on and paying attention in the 1930s in Central Europe, they probably look back in retrospect too.
Well, and you probably could have asked somebody, "Hey, how are you going to get everybody to lock in their houses?" And everybody, "Oh, that's impossible."
Yep.
I'm vertical, by the way. Stage 10 denial, which is for after it happens. And I ran into a real life Holocaust denier in the person once, and that was one of the most bizarre experiences I've ever had.
Yeah. The denial thing that he's talking about right now, though, is during the extermination phase.
Perpetrators or later generations deny the existence. Yep.
Yeah.
Evidence is destroyed and witnesses are intimidated. Thankfully, I think in the internet era, that'd be really hard. But I'm not saying it's impossible.
Yeah, and also with deep fake technology, it's basically possible to do just about anything you want these days and put it out there and people will believe it. So yeah, those are the 10 stages of genocide as put forth by Dr. Edwin Black, who himself was not a Holocaust survivor, I don't think, but his family was. So yeah, he's spent a lifetime studying this sort of thing, trying to suss out how these sorts of things happen and quantify it so that future generations will avoid the mistakes that lead up to things like the Second World War and the Holocaust and genocide.
Well, that doesn't seem to be working.
No. All that lifetime work has been in vain, Dr. Black, but broad gesturing motion to everything happening around us right now.
Yeah. Let's drop over to a lighter note after talking about that. We haven't hit on Cuomo and his adventures.
Yeah.
My favorite meme of the week was put up: killing grannies and smacking fannies. Old Cuomo.
Yeah, but the whole sexual assault thing, I saw it like right away. When somebody said like, "Oh, this doesn't look good for Cuomo," and I'm just like, yeah, it sure would be a shame if everybody was focusing on him being a lecherous weirdo instead of the 12,000+ old people that he killed with his shit policies.
Yeah, and it seems like finally the left is starting to turn on him and realizing, you know what, I have this video too of COVID killing in nursing homes, or it could be Cuomo in disguise. So let me just play this real quick. Hopefully it works.
Oh, yeah, rule. Take off them granny panties and set aside them crutches.
Yeah, that was COVID in the nursing homes. Hopefully it worked. But yeah, so how many accusers does he have now?
I think 11 or 12.
Yeah, and believe all. Well, didn't he already have some before? And believe all women. They didn't go for it.
Yeah, he had some before, and also his brother, Chris Cuomo, this CNN anchor, had some as well. And I think they got caught on a hot mic. Andy was telling Chris like, "Oh, this is how you make this stuff go away," and it's like, God, you sound like a fucking mafia boss or some goon. But yeah, it's he's had this sort of thing happen in the past, and they either made it go away for him because he was useful at the time, and they're just not doing that now. Or what I think is going on right now is the New York Attorney General is a woman named Letitia James, and she is gunning for that job. She wants to be the governor of New York. So she's the one who judges and everything like that. And she is the one who is going to discredit and oust Cuomo so that she can swoop in and take his job. Now, Letitia James is the one that's bringing up all the, the spurious lawsuits against Donald Trump. She's the one who is trying to sue Alex Jones into the ground. She's very good at the political lawfare game, and I think this is just another way for her to get more power for herself.
I missed his comment by Luke over it happened, but on a lighter note, sexual assault. Welcome to clown world.
Yeah, honk honk.
So I think he's done at this point. I'm assuming do you think he'll resign or he'll just make him kick him out? I mean, that's a lot of power for somebody to give up.
Biden's already come out and said that he thinks that Cuomo should resign. I think that he might hold on for a little bit longer, maybe until the election. He might do like a half-hearted, primary attempt to retain it. But I think that probably the movers and shakers in the Democrat Party were like, listen, dude, your time is done. We have an even further left person that we're going to put into power in New York. You're going down. Make it look good. Don't take an obvious dive, but you're done.
Well, and other governors under fire, it looks like Newsom's going to get his recall going on.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any chance that somebody not a rabid progressive would win in that state? What did I see? Larry Elder is in the running? Yes,
Larry Elder is running as a Republican, and I haven't said this in many, many years, but God looking party for putting him up. Larry Elder would be a fantastic voice for liberty in a state that is sticking in it.
It seems bizarre to me that he would even have a chance in California.
He makes a good pitch.
I didn't think there'd be enough numbers out there to get a recall on Newsom either.
Yeah. If you'll give me just a second, Ben, I got to put Wee Man down. He's starting to nod off.
Oh, no more fart sounds.
Yeah.
What do we have? A good movie to watch is The American Hero. I have not heard of that one. We'll have to look into it. So yeah, we had Newsom's on his way out, recall election on him. We'll see what happens with it. I mean, that'd be a Republican wouldn't be able to. Elder is polling well. A Republican probably wouldn't be able to do shit in that state, I would imagine, because it's I assume it's a super majority in their house and their legislature. So I guess best case you would just stall everything out because you have a Republican governor and Democrat House and legislature. So the government that governs least governs best at that point.
Are you talking about Larry Elder?
Yeah, if he got in, where he'd be.
Yeah.
I mean, it would just be a stalemate, which wouldn't be a bad thing.
Right, and I saw an interview that he did with Dave Rubin, and I saw one that he did with Glenn Beck, and he said basically the same thing in both interviews, that even though passing things through the legislature as a Republican governor who with actual Republican Party principles would be very difficult, if not impossible, in the California legislature, so much power has been ceded to the executive that he has to do things with states of emergency in the state of California. And the two things that he think might be able to in the turnaround that would be within the powers of the governor to accomplish would be to declare a state of emergency for the housing market to repeal a set of environmental regulations called CEQA, which is the California Environmental something something Act, that is what is depressing the new home market in California, which is, of course, driving the homeless problem that they have in California. They can't build a new home without a ridiculous amount of red tape and environmental impact statements and God knows what else to go through. So there's no new homes being built. And that, combined with California's year-round good weather, is driving, a massive homeless population. And the other thing that he would do is to declare a state of emergency in regards to the quality of teachers in public schools. Teachers in California only require 2 years to be to gain tenure, and there are currently 2 years, and there is currently what did he say? It was something like throughout the state, it's like 75% of black students cannot read or write to what their grade level should be. And he said it's because you have all of these tenured teachers that can't be fired. And so it's like a huge percentage of these teachers have been deemed by the state to be incompetent in their jobs, but they can't be fired because they have tenure. And he says, if they were police officers, there would be riots in the streets. If this percentage of police officers were deemed competent at their job, we would have riots in the street. But because they're teachers teaching your children and they have tenure and the backing of the teachers union, nobody gives a shit.
Well, teachers unions are the worst.
Yeah.
Luke White asked, did you see Bay's Brazilian president? I have not seen anything about Bolsonaro, but he does some crazy shit. So I'm sure.
I haven't either.
So 2 years is just nuts for tenure. I mean, they must have so many people on their rolls that they can't fire. It's got to be drowning the state.
Yeah, absolutely. He said that last year, only out of all of the teachers in California, 2 were fired.
Well, and I like that you made the point that, it's not exactly all the homeless people's fault that there's so many homeless people in California. I mean, when you're looking at a starter house in California being $300,000 probably, because and not because of free market capitalism, because of all the bullshit red tape that they put on building a house. And the bad thing is, a lot of the Nebraska adopted the International Building Code, which is off San Francisco standards. So that right there is part of, and a lot of states adopt those standards. So that is part of the reason right there why housing is so expensive, because you can't afford to build a new one. And these older ones that didn't have to follow those standards or are slightly cheaper are getting snatched up because they're a value compared to the house you have to build that's brand new.
Yeah, not to mention that you've got these investment firms that are coming in and snatching up entire neighborhoods.
Right.
Paying 25% over market value for houses or entire neighborhoods to turn you into a perpetual renter.
Yeah, my wife deals with mortgages, and she was telling me she saw one that went through last week. It was a $200,000 house, and the people paid $100,000 over asking price for it.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if I should say it or not, but I'm going to anyways. Like, my mom and my aunt live in Idaho, and the house that they live in right now, I think my mom said that my aunt, when she got it, paid like $210,000, which, I've been there. It's a nice house. That's about what I would say that house is worth. And a friend of theirs who does real estate says that if they were looking to sell today, they could easily get $650,000 for it.
Yeah,
that's
it's because all the people are leaving California.
Yep.
And they're going to places like Colorado, and then the people in Colorado are like, there's too many damn Californians in here.
Yep.
I'm moving to Nebraska, Montana, Idaho, South Dakota. And it's just Where do the people in Nebraska go when they're sick of the shit? We don't.
It's an ideological plague of locusts, and they don't realize that they're the locusts.
What were we talking about? We were talking about something about the Mongols, how they would drive waves of people out, and they just kept going to successive countries. The Mongols would drive them out, they'd get pushed into this next country.
Yep.
We're like people fleeing the Mongols at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And those of us on the outlier states really have nowhere left to go from the people fleeing California. I assume on the East Coast, it's the same way with people fleeing New York.
Right.
They're probably hitting places like, I don't know, Tennessee. Luke's here. I mean, what do they get flooding into Tennessee, driving the rates up? I'm going to assume it's people out of New York and Boston.
Yeah, when I was down there, I was asking that same question because the area down there, it's absolutely gorgeous, and they were saying, Mark and Justin and Luke were saying that I should move there, and they make a very compelling case for it. But they said that right now they're spared the brunt of the fleeing progressive, and the worst that they get is snowbirds from Ohio coming down.
Snowbirds from Ohio? What the fuck?
Yeah, I didn't know such a thing existed.
Whatever. Luke says he's Wyoming or Alaska is Wyoming. Eyeing. Well, you better hurry if you're eyeing Wyoming. It's out of control in Wyoming right now, along with all the others. Yeah, we got somebody over here working on a huge ranch in Northern Cali. It's a New York Teachers Union retirement plan.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah. These giant big city pension funds are invested in so much shit, in not just like the stock market or whatever, but in real estate and manufacturing. There was a huge hullabaloo a few years ago about a teachers union had found out that their pension fund had investments in Freedom Group, which owned a bunch of gun companies, and they flipped out and divested and lost a lot of money off of it too, just because it was gun companies. They're invested in so much shit. And yeah, it's a ranch. I'm assuming beef or something like that. You're always going to need to eat. And New York City goes to Florida. Yep, that is 100%
Nebraska. Some of I can't remember where they're ranked, but in the top 5 landowners, you have Ted Turner and the Mormon Church.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just buying up everything. I think Bill Gates has gotten the act now too. He's bought up a bunch of Nebraska. Did you see that story?
Are you sure it was Ted Turner and not Warren Buffett?
Buffett and Gates are both in. Ted Turner owns such a large chunk of Nebraska, you almost wouldn't even believe it. I don't know the exact number, but I think he owns all his ranches equal about the size of Connecticut. It's something crazy.
Yeah, and Bill Gates is the largest private farmland owner in the United States now.
Yep, and I think he's top 5 for almond ranch. What the? Is that how you get milk? Is that how you get almond milk? You milk the almonds on an almond ranch?
Yeah, you got to get your microscope out. Get the little tweezers.
I hate to tell those teachers this, but they're probably fucked on their almond ranch because California's going to run out of water.
Yep.
I mean, think what that exodus is going to be like when the water runs out in California and Arizona. And all that land becomes almond, walnuts, and rice is a majority. That is something I would not want to be invested in at all.
Yeah, unfortunately, I hear that Northern California is a pretty good place to live as far as like political and ideologically and climate and farmland and everything. But because they are part of California, they have to abide by all of the crazy shit that Southern California comes up with.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, your ranch, your farmland, and everything is going to be running out of water because crazy people don't want to, a not endangered smelt or something like that.
Got to get up early to milk 250K almonds.
It ain't much, but it's honest work.
Yeah, so I mean, we're getting close to our hour. Is there anything else you wanted to hit up for this week in Clown World? I mean,
I don't know. I think
almonds. I think we've about.
Yeah, we had some pretty good topics tonight. We'll do a little bit better job of doing notes. I had a pretty packed day today of running around doing shit. And
Yeah, and I had a crazy story that I told Hobbs that involved me choking a pit bull with my bare hands. So, shortly before I came on the show, so
yeah,
I was a little busy. We'll be on again next week. We'll try and do 9 Central Time again. Go to roads and liberty.com. Check out our merch. Our shirt sales dropped off, but they picked up again. If we happen to sell $500 in merch this year, you'll force me to report taxes to the government. So if you guys really want to annoy me, get enough shirts that I have to report to the IRS as a business, because we are registered as a business. Strange as that is. One last comment. You should see the thriving monopoly in Orthodox Jewish communities using government money to overdeveloped parts of the East Coast. I bet. So
that is a rabbit hole we can go down next week.
We'll hit that next week. Roads and liberty.com. This has been This Week in Clown World. Honk, honk.